Hi, my name is John Suzuki and I'm with Vrbo, and we're here to talk with you today a little bit about getting prepared for travelers looking to book vacations coming out of COVID-19. COVID has been stressful for all of us, and it has created new norms and new expectations that none of us had ever had before. And so what we want to do is want to take you through some of the things that we're seeing and some of the things that you can be doing to prepare for what we hope is an onslaught of bookings. All right, joining me today are Miller Hawkins and Randy Hall. Miller is the owner of Boo Realty in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and he's also the president-elect of the Vacation Rental Managers Association. If you're not a member of the VRMA, you should really consider becoming one. Randy Hall is the owner of Liquid Life Vacation Rentals in Orange Beach, Alabama. And he also launched a new company called Clean Condos. And he's here to talk a little bit about his experiences there. And both of them have a wealth of experience that we can all learn from. So Miller and Randy, welcome to this webinar. And thank you for being here.
Thanks. Thank you.
Really good. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to take you through a little bit of presentation mode and then panel mode and then presentation mode, just to give you information and some of the background of some of the things that are going on out there. What we're going to cover today are these 5 things. We're going to talk about trying to anticipate traveler concerns and what's going on out there. Because the fact of the matter is, this world is hugely dynamic and things are changing all the time, right? So trying to anticipate what's going on and what traveler expectations are evolving to. Fairness and flexibility. That's one of the things that traveler expectations are evolving to. And certainly cleanliness. We're going to talk about fairness and flexibility and cleanliness. Then we're going to talk a little bit about the future and focusing on the future. And then we're going to close with giving you resources and places where you can go for resources and more information. So with that, first thing, there have been several themes that have arisen out of what we've been looking at. These are 6 of them. The first one in terms of traveler themes is ease of use. They want you and us to make their booking a vacation home easy and with no fear, right? And obviously those expectations have changed. We're going to talk about that because one of those changes has been in refunds. They would prefer to have the opportunity to get some kind of refund or credit should their vacation go south and them not be able to participate in their vacation or take their vacation. They also are looking for more flexible cancellation policies, right? Which goes back to the refunds. Trip destinations, more and more folks are looking at drive-to locations closer to home and places where there's not crowds of people. Travel timing is very interesting. We were seeing an emergence of the timing of travel being shortly after summer, like in September and October, but we're seeing an emergence of pent-up demand of folks who are booking as soon as the government lets them and the government eases up on their regulations and their stay-at-home orders. And so the travel timing is interesting as we're moving forward and seems to change all the time. And last but not least, cleanliness and properties, right? Cleanliness and properties is always important. It is the delivery mechanism set aside the home, right? And it is the #1 reason for negative reviews is an unclean home. Now, COVID-19 has completely changed the role on that and changed that expectation. So we're going to talk a lot about that as well, okay? So anticipating travel concerns. Talk a little bit about this, but 83% of travelers we surveyed had a trip affected by COVID-19, 83%. Where's the other 17%? Some people are surprised that it's not 100%. 17% are later trips, right? And so 83% is a huge, huge number. 67% of travelers reported that they had to cancel their trip, right? Or was going to be canceled. And 46% said that they would lose all or a portion of their money and the cost of the trip. And so these things are causing, obviously, folks to be a little bit fearful and a little bit stressed about what the future holds in terms of them thinking about their vacations. Although they really want to, more and more people are starting to think about their vacations, but we'll get to that. So travelers are more cautious. They expect to do more of booking travel and booking homes closer to their trip dates, right? Buying travel insurance and traveling domestically and not internationally and closer to home without not having to hop on an airplane. They're going to do less of traveling to areas hit hard by the pandemic, right? Again, travel internationally, and they're going to do less of renting homes that have fewer guest reviews, which is really interesting. We've always talked with you about the importance of guest reviews, and now it is just becoming that much more important, okay? They are now very much prioritizing flexibility and cleanliness. 77% of folks that are booking said that they're more likely to choose a travel option that involves some flexibility in their bookings and cancellation policies, and 51% are looking more and more at cleanliness and the cleanliness policies and what they can expect. 28% drive to locations, researching more, taking shorter trips. So these are the kinds of things that are happening right now and kind of changes in the way travelers are thinking about booking your homes. So let's talk briefly about fairness and flexibility, and this largely revolves around cancellation policies. Folks who are considering future trips want their cancellation policies to be flexible, right? A lot of you may have heard me say in a number of the presentations that I've done that today's luxury is tomorrow's expectation, and yesterday's luxury is today's expectation. We don't know where this is going, but in the past, the cancellation policies were what they were, right? COVID-19 has changed that. Now, how far it's going to go into the future, we don't know. But for now, we have really strong evidence that travelers want to receive some kind of refund or credit if COVID-19 affects their trip, right? They want to have more prominence in the cancellation policies on your listing. So that's like one of the first things they want to see right there. And they're pushing for more shorter cancellation windows. So these are the kinds of things that we all are having to deal with now. 78% of travelers consider a flexible vacation policy as being very important or extremely important, right? So note to self, it's our new reality for now. And on our site, on Vrbo, they're filtering out the less flexible policies, and they're filtering on the more flexible policies. So listings with more relaxed and easier cancellation policies, more favorable to the traveler, are getting more bookings. It's just kind of, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, okay? This is kind of interesting. So what this says, we have 5 different options with regards to cancellation policies: relaxed, moderate, firm, strict, and no refund. And what we're finding is that the relaxed and moderates are becoming a bigger and bigger part of our bookings. And so you can see on the chart to the right, kind of the makeup of moderate, firm, relaxed, and so forth. And today, or let's see, last month, moderate and relaxed refund policies made up about 55% of the bookings. That's increased by about 10%. So now it's about 2/3 of bookings are made with relaxed or moderate policy. So something to think about, right? And figure out how you can make it work for your businesses if that makes sense. And of course, you want to market your flexible policies on our websites. Make it big, right? Cancellation flexibility on that one image on your right, and down towards the bottom, the other image says free cancellation. So make sure that you highlight your cancellation policies. Make sure they're active on your search filters, and make sure they're easy to find in your rental agreements, okay? Because like I said, that's one of, if not the #1 thing that travelers look for. Now, one of the things, as you guys know, is that as we moved into COVID-19, we made some pretty big decisions in terms of how we were going to manage bookings that were already made, specifically cancellations. And the knee-jerk reaction that we could have made was, we're just going to go ahead and refund all travelers, and everybody will understand, you guys will understand, everybody will understand. But we've been in this business for a long time, right? I personally have been in this business serving property managers for 16 years. You guys run very complex businesses, but the most important part of your business that makes you so unique is that you have owners to work with, and you manage their money, and you manage their properties, and you manage their futures in a lot of ways, right? And so we decided that instead of coming out with really harsh one-way policies of doing whatever, we made the decision based on our understanding of you guys that, look, we're in a win-win situation when things are succeeding, and we need to be in a pain situation together as we move forward. And the fact of the matter is, you guys run amazing businesses, and we just decided, look, we're going to let you guys do what's right for your businesses, because we believe that what you do, what you think is right for your businesses, is going to be right for Vrbo too. And so we gave you the control, right? And you guys implemented the policies that you felt was right for your business. The other part to this is that to the extent that we could influence certain behavior, right? Good behavior, we wanted to do that. You have carrots, you have sticks. We wanted to move forward with carrots and rewards. And so the policy that we came out with is that for every booking that you cancel and give a 50 to 100% refund or credit to, we're going to give you the equivalent of a 5-star review on that home. That's going to help lift your search results for that property. And so we're still working on it. It's coming. We're committed to it. But it's all about working together, right? And hopefully rewarding good behavior and making you guys feel pretty good, and that we're being fair about everything. So with all that, wanted to bring Miller and Randy into the conversation and ask you guys a couple of questions. With all that as a backdrop and your personal experiences, how have you guys adapted your policy, in response to everything that's happening with COVID-19? Randy, you want to go?
Yeah, I'll be glad to, John. It's excellent information that you've laid out. For our situation, we find ourselves dealing with about 3 different groups of people. There were those people who were inside a booking window or in a condo in a rental property when the announcement was made on March 18th, 19th, and it really kind of stuck, and it traveled out of Washington to our state governor's office. Our beaches were closed, and very soon after that, the pools and lazy rivers, and therefore everything that people come to enjoy our beaches. So for those people, we were under a policy that's probably written more for hurricane, no refunds under any circumstances out of our control. So for those folks, we worked with them, and we did not immediately just start writing checks. We provided a partial refund for those folks and an opportunity to rebook at 20%. We considered for a little while credit, but the mechanical nature of having a phone call over every one of those reservations was just going to overtake our company. And so the possibility to declare a refund position and then move on, not a full refund, but a part that preserves some of the commitments that have been made, it was a tough fit. We also immediately began to look at the future and understand we had to remove all of the cancellation policies. So we instituted worry-free reservations going forward for those that were made after the COVID announcement. So new reservations are right now currently under a complete worry-free, every penny refunded if the beaches are closed for COVID. We got into that a little bit by making reservations in late April with some very optimistic people, and the beaches didn't open until May 1st, and so we had to move some things around. Right now, so those are the adjustments, and I can speak to what's happening now, but I think I'll let Milner just talk about maybe the adjustments that they made first. And if you want me to talk about what's happening now, then we can pick that up in a second question.
Okay. Miller.
Thanks, Randy, for those words, and thank you, John, for having us here during this very crucial time that we're going through. I don't like to use the word unprecedented, but Randy had mentioned the word hurricane, what he just talked about, and frankly, in the 26 years I've been doing this, we've gone through 20 plus hurricanes along the East Coast here, and this is going through hurricanes is far easier than what we're having to go through now. This is going to affect us for months, if not years to come. The way I looked at it is the what is more important, a cancellation fee or a lifetime guest? And we had several winter snowbird tenants that were with us when the governor shut our state down, and those tenants were allowed to stay. Some of them stayed, some of them are still here now. The reservations that were short out, like in April, those had to be canceled and full refunds, no questions asked. That got into about the middle of May, where we are now, when the beaches opened back up, but the pools didn't. So what we did is we eased our cancellation terms across the board, almost to a case by case. But if someone called back in late March or April or early May for a summer reservation, we tried to calm their nerves and tell them, please call us back later as things open. The ones that were coming in early May to mid-May, we understood that. But if they were in a situation to where they just were not going to travel down here, they were not going to drive down here, they've lost their job or so on, we've got a cancellation fee. Many times we did not even charge them the cancellation fee. But if some people were trying to cancel something in July and we charged a cancellation fee, we put that fee as a credit to a future stay with that guest whenever they wanted to come down. And that went over very, very well with our guests, knowing that they basically weren't going to be charged anything. If they never came to Myrtle Beach and forgot about us and so on, then we kept their couple $100 of cancellation fee. But we wanted to let them know, come later this year, later this summer, sometime next spring, when you were going to cut, and you will be given that credit back on your reservation. So we allowed people to move reservations to later this year to next year. We adjusted the cancellation fees and so on, but we've really had to turn things around. We'll get to it, I'm sure, later on about the cleaning, which has obviously been changed drastically. But yeah, basically the cancellation terms, we just try to work with our guests, because a lifetime guest, and a lot of our guests have been here coming with to us for 20 plus years. We want them 20 more years from now. So a couple $100 isn't worth it to us.
Yeah, awesome. So with all that as a backdrop and what you guys have done in response to COVID-19, how long do you plan on keeping this in place? Are you thinking about the longer term, or are you just working with COVID for now?
I'll go. We're keeping we're slowly opening back up now. We're keeping our cleaning policies that we've put in place forever. They're going to be with us forever. We have the cancellation policies and things like that. We're going to ease those as the summer goes on and people come down here, and the restaurants just opened up yesterday, to in the restaurant dining. So we're going to ease those policies, put them back into place as the summer goes on. But as far as the cleaning, those policies will be here as long as I'm here.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Randy, how about you?
John, what I'll tell you is we didn't change any of our policies in writing with regard to online reservations at Vrbo or at our website. We've left them, which is just the same as they've always been. We did operate during that worry-free time for a period of time. It was on our website, it was on our blog, it was on our social media and that kind of stuff. But the moment that the beaches opened, we deleted it from everything. So it had a specific application from March 19 until April 28th. And that window, those people in my office, my team knows those people are under a worry-free. And the question is, what happens if they come back and reclose the beaches, which is just unthinkable. It's almost not saying the hurricane word. We're up and going now. So we did not change our policies online. We're still asking folks to slide into a standard, for us, 30-day, no refunds for any circumstances policy. Now, I don't know if we're long-term that'll work. The demand is so high right now for cabin fever does a beach trip that we really can't handle. We're totally sold out for the next 14 to 17 days. We're at 96% occupancy for those days almost. And then the bookings that we're seeing are exactly like this, high, 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 high. So we've made a very few reservations for July. We've made a good number for June, and we're full in May. So that demand keeps you from having to even evaluate why your best match searches might not be working out, because your filters will get there. This has already been educational for me. We'll talk with my team. We'll see. But for now, we're asking these folks to let us slide them back into a standard set of policies going forward. We are getting questions on it, but I would simply say this. Under normal circumstances, 80% of our reservations come in on my website or Vrbo without a conversation, and they're buying into whatever's emailed back to them. And the demand right now is keeping us from having to address that.
Okay, well, good. Well, that's excellent. Thank you. All right, now let's talk about cleanliness. It matters big time. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, cleanliness is the number one reason why we get negative reviews is the lack of cleanliness. And of course, with COVID-19, it's a whole new game. And the attention from travelers has gone from very important to acute. Look, okay, good. So 82% of travelers say that cleaning information is useful when making a booking decision. Perhaps more now, because this was a survey taken in April. But the fact of the matter is, it is hugely important. In terms of what the best source is that travelers like to trust the most, traveler reviews, right? They trust traveler reviews, and if the traveler reviews talk about cleanliness, that's awesome. They also look at our protocols, and so 37% of the folks here said that, listen, if they abide by Vrbo cleanliness protocols, great. And of course, folks also just kind of trust the information on the listing. But if you think about the traveler reviews, make sure, kind of a pro tip is to always ask your guests to mention cleanliness in their review, okay? Because that is the number one, seems to be the number one trusted source of cleanliness information. Now, with regards to guidelines, okay, Vrbo has been very much involved with creating the guidelines. We were part of a task force for the United States Travel Association to help set guidelines for cleanliness and COVID-19. And we've also worked very closely with a partner company of ours called Crystal International Standards, as well as the Vacation Rental Managers Association, to come up with these guidelines. And the guidelines are based on information from the World Health Organization, from the Center for Disease Control. And so we've created these guidelines. VRMA has these available. We also have these available on Discovery Hub. And we're also going to be launching some training with regards to cleaning the properties based on known public information, as well as what we find traveler expectations to be. Some of the operational considerations are simply, invest in training, right? Invest in training, and to the extent that you can, certification for your in-house housekeeping team. Use professional cleaning companies, right? If you use professional cleaning companies that have professional grade washers and dryers and linen cleaning and all that kind of stuff, mention it. Make sure that you highlight it. Contact-free check-in and check-out. These people love you. Your guests love you. They'd love to see you, but they don't want to, right? They don't want to shake your hand. They want to stay as far away from you as possible. So if you have online check-in capabilities and remote check-in and check-out capabilities, that's always good. And provide cleaning and disinfecting materials to your guests, okay? And let them know they're there. If you have masks available, you have gloves available, you have disinfectants available. And also, for me, just make sure that you also, for me, because I'm a grandfather, I'm a father, and I think about stuff like this, I go, yes, I would want to have the cleaning stuff available, but I certainly don't want you to have it underneath the kitchen sink, right? Not with my grandkids, right? So just stuff like that, right? Thinking about what people, that you have them in a stored, secure location so the kids can't get to them. But utilize implementing things like this that are on this slide, okay? Share the cleaning and disinfecting details with the travelers. Let them know what you guys do. Let them know about your property, exactly the processes that you guys are going through to clean their homes, right? You might want to leave some materials, like a little checklist inside the property that shows the bathroom, the toilet, all that different kind of stuff. This is a little bit of an extreme, but you know what? I always got a feeling of relief, I guess, whenever I would check into a hotel room and have a little piece of paper across the toilet seat that's right. It was just a goofy thing, and who knows if they did it or not, but it was just one of those things that made me feel good about the place, right? So having information on site in the property about what you guys are doing, having door hangers and signs, and like I said, checklists, just as a reminder to them of, oh yeah, wow, this house, not my house, but I'm envisioning being in one of your homes, is really clean, right? And moving on that way. And so coming soon, we're going to enable enhanced cleaning details on Vrbo. And so folks will be able to actually see everything, and in some cases search on cleaning details. Okay, so let's talk about cleaning. Woohoo! All right, so let's see. Randy, you did one first last time. Milla, let's have you this time. How have you guys updated your cleaning protocols?
Drastically. You mentioned back on an earlier slide that 82% look at that helps make their decision. I can tell you right now, 100% of the people, cleaning matters. Only 82 of them maybe look into it, but it matters to 100% of them. A lot in the past, but more so now, and it will be for, like I said, years to come. We have changed our cleaning protocol around here a lot, and it started with the office. We first of all locked the front door, and I had my cleaning department come in here twice a day to clean and disinfect the office. Doorknobs, mouse, keyboards, telephones, light switches, they disinfected it twice to make my employees feel safe. Thank you for mentioning the VRMA and VRHP. Both of them in conjunction came up with a wonderful set of cleaning guidelines that's on the VRMA website, and it's available to VRMA members that they can post on their website. They can send it to their guests. They can put it on their VRBO listings. It's theirs to use, but it was well thought of, put together by a lot of people around in our industry, vendors like yourself included. So we've changed our cleaning protocol with if someone checks out and nobody's checking in, further than 24 hours out, we don't allow our cleaners to go in for 24 hours. And if it's a guest that's been there a while, maybe 2 days to 3 days. If no one's checking in for a week or so, it may sit empty for 3 days. But we're changing it up to when they go in there. Masks are provided, gloves are provided. One thing I did about a month ago is there are some fantastic products out there that are EPA approved, hospital grade cleaning solutions that they're not too expensive, but they're well worth it. Take those, advertise it to your guest. We email our guests and tell them that we've changed our cleaning protocol, and they will feel safe. We've really pushed more than anything else vacation rentals compared to a hotel. What's more, where would you rather be, in a house or a condo that's further distanced away than a hotel sharing the same elevator and so on? So we're really pushing the vacation. It's not working too well in Florida, obviously, but so as far as the cleaning goes, we have changed things up drastically around here. Our policy manual, when we can go into a property and what we do, is now pretty much doubled.
Okay. Randy, what about you?
Well, I think we got serious about cleaning about 4 years ago. And for me, that was going into the cleaning business. And so it meant buying towels and washers and dryers. So I guess I would just share in the context of this setting, whether we're addressing a property manager with 27 properties or 2,700, coming back, the number one concern you're going to have is labor. I can just tell you, we're 10 days into this. And the number one concern you're going to have in every area, unless your company is run by your brother and sister and they're not on unemployment. But right now, the government's plan to give everyone $900+ a week is just basically kind of shutting down the responses to our Indeed ad. And so I would just put that out there, that no matter what zip code you're in, hiring people at the hourly rate to clean or the per job rate or whatever, you're going to have less people coming your way. And so that's the number one concern. Now, as far as addressing how we clean, I would simply say that we have a laundry, therefore we have a chemical salesman who's our friend, and he comes by to check on our chemical purchases. And so when we asked the question, what do we need to do different? He said, nothing. So there was a great deal of security for us that we were using a professional chemical company, we were buying chemicals, we were distributing chemicals to our cleaners. So we kind of like to say we were disinfecting before disinfecting was cool. And that's just kind of one way to look at the situation for us. I would say that if you've been getting by, regardless of what size company you are, if you've been getting by allowing cleaners to wash the sheets and towels in the unit where the last guest swimsuits were washed and all that at a temperature that's just residential, then you probably need to take a look at getting your linens in a process where soil linens are kept separate from clean linens in and out of the condos and in and out of the cleaners' automobiles, and that they're being washed at 150 degrees instead of 95 degrees and that kind of thing. I think those are the kind of things that you may not be able to say that in a brochure or in a VRBO listing, but I think if you want to be serious about being sure that you have a disinfected environment, then your chemicals, the temperature that you're washing the laundry, the way you're dealing with all those things, come right after having enough people to get the job done. And I might add now that, as this is 5 minutes of a 5-hour seminar that I could do on just this one subject of having dozens of people inspecting, cleaning as we come out of COVID. It is, right now we have more work than we can do, not enough people. We think we're doing it right, but you can't clean a condo in 10% of the time that you need to, because you have too many assignments. So, no.
Yep. So with that, so you mentioned you didn't know how to communicate all the things that you do. So how do you communicate all the things that you do?
Good question, John. We changed our listing, and our property management software pushes right through to our Vrbo ads, and we just basically made it the second line, professional cleaning, and then we inserted about 3 lines of copy to echo some of those things I've just said. But that's the best place we can do it right now until there's a field created for a gold star or something. We'll use the property description.
Yeah. Okay. How about you, Miller?
We've just launched a brand new website about 10 days ago, and we've changed our cleaning procedures on our new website versus our old one, which gave us a good opportunity to do so. Unlike Randy, we don't have a linen facility here in my office. I have a washer and dryer for cleaning rags and things like that, but we get our linens from a professional company here in town. When they come to us in the linen carts, they are bundled up in saran wrap, tight saran wrap. We're pushing that out there. So when you get here to check in, I'm sorry, you're going to have to make your own bed, but look what you're getting here in this linen pack. It's cleaned and sanitized, and no one's touched it, for several days. So we're pushing that out there. Communicating with the guest, sending them, frequent emails as this thing's going on. When we open up the beaches, emailing them, and every email that goes out to them, guests that are coming in from now until forever, we're touching on cleaning about what we're doing around here, just to make them feel safe.
Perfect. Excellent. All right. Thank you very much for that. All right. So focusing a little bit on the future. Okay. Switching gears a little bit. So, so the good news is that 70% of Vrbo travelers are willing to book or stay in a vacation rental this year, right? So the demand is there, and that's really exciting. This is probably the most technical chart I'm going to give you guys. It's pretty simple. Bottom line is that starting right around April 1st, demand started to go up, right? And so we're starting to see the bottoming out of COVID, which is a really good thing. So lots of energy. What is it that travelers are thinking about with regards to trips that they're planning on booking? So we have pretty strong evidence that there's three things that they're looking at. The first thing is that they're looking to stay closer to home, right? They don't want to go far away. They're not looking to travel internationally. And for the coming months, closer is better. They're also largely not planning on getting on an airplane for COVID-19 reasons. And they're also looking to avoid places that got hit really hard with COVID-19. And so this is kind of an interesting chart. It talks about the top search destinations, the top 10 search destinations. And as you can see, Florida is #1 and #2, Destin and Panama City Beach. Unfortunately, vacation rentals are closed down in the state of Florida, so folks can't book there and certainly can't travel there. But evidently, the pent-up demand is pretty high. Randy and Miller, you guys are in the top 10 as well, with Orange Beach, Alabama, and Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. So that's really cool. And of course, Hawaii. People are searching on Hawaii, even though you know they got the 14-day quarantine and vacation rentals are basically shut down. There's lots and lots of interest in traveling, right? And so the name of the game is working with the different governments, state governments, and figuring out how we can make all that happen and opening up those markets. And of course, where are these travelers coming from? Where are they searching from? #1 is Paris. Paris. For some reason, people want to get out of town in Paris. I think Paris is lovely, but there's lots of people that want to get out of there. And of course, New York, and you can see Brooklyn at #9. So a lot of the city centers, right, is where people want to get out of. And of course, they're the big population centers. So I thought that was kind of interesting as well. All right, this is interesting from the standpoint of understanding travelers and guests who have trips that are already booked. So as you can see, that orange line represents the cancellations, and those cancellations are coming down. And that blue line represents people who are actually going to take their trip. So right around the first part of June is when those lines cross, and more people are planning on taking trips after June than canceling them, okay, or right around the middle part of June. This is for folks thinking about new trips, right? So folks who are thinking about new trips are thinking about more new trips and cancellations in about the August timeframe. And so this you know, you have the pent-up demand part that we talked about and Randy is experiencing with regards to opening up and all of a sudden people hitting. But in terms of planning new trips, looking at the August timeframe. So that's a pretty interesting chart. So let's talk about some questions and get your feedback on some of this stuff. Miller, let's start with you. What are you guys seeing booking trends out there in your market for this summer?
Yes, we're seeing a lot of bookings that are coming later in the year. And what's more important with us is we have opened up our calendar to, normally for all these years, we've opened up our calendar to less than a week stay, because we're always Saturday to Saturday during the peak months. We used to open it up in the middle of June, and now as soon as the governor shut our beaches down, we opened up our calendar for the rest of the year to 3-night minimums, and some properties 2-night minimums to take what we can get. So we're seeing a lot of bookings coming in the fall for even though they're going to be less than a week because school's starting back up. We had 2 bike festivals that were slated to be in the middle of May and on Memorial Day. Both of those got canceled. The middle of May got moved to July, and the Memorial Day got moved to Labor Day. So we're going to have a very, very busy fall around here. Normally when the peak ends around the 2nd week of August, school goes back in and things kind of die down around here, except for a little small weekend traffic. We're expecting to be slammed all the way up until late October, early November. So we're seeing quite a few shorter stays. People can't afford to take the time off work or what has happened to their pocketbook. They have not they're not able to take a week stay, so they're booking 3 nights, 4 nights, long weekends here or there.
Yep, yep. Just out of curiosity, so used to be after summer was over, you'd hit your shoulder season, but with these two events, is this something that they may decide to move forward with in the future as well?
No.
Okay.
Our bell curve is usually in the summer months, and we are widening the curve. For better choice of words, we're widening the curve to where now our curve's not going to go down probably until October, November. The people that have the groups that have moved their festivals, they've been Memorial Day longer than I've been in this business. The mid-May around Mother's Day Bike Fest, that's been here for years. No, they've already indicated they're going back to their regular time every year. The Sun Fun Festival, the Mustang Festival, everything we have around here in 21, hopefully will go back to where it was.
Got it. And where are your travelers coming from?
We do not have an interstate that comes into Myrtle Beach, believe it or not. We do have an international airport, but most of our travelers, I'd say before this hit, 80%, 85% of our travelers were drive to from New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, and draw a circle right down the Mississippi River and in. Of course, the Florida and Georgia, they'd go to the Gulf Coast and down to Florida, but most of ours are drive to. I'd say for the rest of this year, our drive to destination is probably going to be between 95 and 100% easily through the rest of this year. Even though the airlines are opening back up, we do have Spirit Airlines that flies in here from up north. You know, people just aren't comfortable with flying right now, and they're going to hop in the car and drive down here. So drive to is going to be 95+% of our business the rest of this year.
Got it. All right, Randy, what about you? What trends are you seeing out there?
Well, we're seeing immediate pent-up demand. There are a lot of people who want to get out of their house and come down to the beach. We do have kind of a traditional, what we call a 5-hour, 300-mile drive circle that serves our market, and much more from the north and the west. And that group is active. The people who know where we are coming rapidly. We have adjusted our rates to help our owners get some bookings in May. They didn't get a check in April. They got a tiny check in March. And so we wanted to make the most out of May based on the number of bookings. Our occupancy rate is way up in May. And so the sell the ripe bananas right now, or they'll spoil on Monday, that empty room concept. We're not letting any rooms sit empty. We're working with travelers on 3-night stays, 4-night stays, and we're full through the end of May pretty much. Longer term, we lost a lot of cancellations. We were a little bit ahead of last year, but we're right on par with what we're holding. We're matching your numbers and your statistics probably spot on. And so our bookings are kind of next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks are really strong. We're climbing, you know, through the 70 to 80% occupancy toward our traditional 90% occupancy in the summer. July is a little soft, August is a little soft. We're laying some new bookings out there, but not in anything that would be on pace with previous years. We really do kind of feel good about it. In this environment, we feel really good about a 3 to 4 week window with a lot of activity where people are kind of getting their lives back in order, getting some comfort. It's really interesting to just put your head up in where other people are today by watching a little bit of news, and how many people in the country are still deeply in a stay at home or else order. And I'll promise you, when you arrive in Orange Beach and go to the public shopping center, you won't know that anybody is on any kind of order. There's an effort to do the 6-foot thing, but there's just a lot of people at the beach. We're having summer type capacities in restaurant lines and those kind of things. So for the near term, we're back. I do think adjusting filters for policies and stuff will probably become some of the levers we want to try to pull as we see July and August come back. That quick burst is going to be interesting to see how long that lasts.
Yeah, good. Really interesting. All right, good. So wrapping up a little bit. All right, moving forward, families are still Vrbo's strongest audience. This was Q4 2019 information, but 88% of Vrbo families or travelers plan to travel with families, more so now than ever before. right? Traveling with people who are close to you, people who you trust from a health perspective, right? And having your own space. So we're really, really working hard to communicate out there that your vacation homes are a really great solution for getting out with your families. All right, so let's talk about key takeaways of this session. First of all, flexible cancellation policies. Okay, some of you guys have, well, you guys heard that with Miller and with Randy, they have varying approaches on their cancellation policies. And so the whole idea is to figure out, just understand what traveler expectations are and understand that, that it's out there, right? And then create those cancellation policies as we go, because things are changing almost every day. Be aware of it, do what's right for your business and what you think is right for your guests. Cleaning protocols. Make sure you know this stuff, right? There's lots of information out there with regard to this. And on our Discovery Hub, I'm going to talk with you about that in just a second. Lots of information there. And at VRMA, lots of information. VRHP, which is a vacation rental housekeeping professionals organization, has lots and lots of information about housekeeping. So they can also provide you with lists of the different products that Miller was talking about that you can utilize and use for your homes. Updating your listings. Get with your partner success folks, right? Get with your partner success account manager, because that's changing all the time. And updating your listings to show your cancellation policies, to show your cleaning protocols, to show all those things that you want to highlight that travelers are looking for. Make sure you get with your partner success person, because they've got all that information and they can give you prescriptive recommendations on how to update your listings and take advantage of what's going on as we're coming out of the valley of COVID-19, if you will. And the last thing I just want to talk with you guys about is being ready to adapt. And that heart is actually a light bulb that I turned into a heart, because being ready to adapt is just being ready to do what's right for your guests and your owners, right? And to me, it's a lot of this stuff is common sense, right? When you think about booking a vacation rental and you think about arriving and experiencing that vacation rental, what do you want? What do you want to see, right? And go do it. Go do it. You want to see the flexible cancellation policies. You want to see refunds and credits if they're being offered. You want to know that the place is clean. All these different kinds of things. Those of you who've seen me present before might have heard me say that one of my favorite sayings in the world is, they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, right? This is our opportunity as an industry to really show that we care. And it's all about love. 2 years ago, John Kim did a presentation on a concept called IQ, EQ, LQ. And IQ stands for intelligence quotient, EQ stands for emotional quotient, and LQ stands for the love quotient. Jack Ma, who's the chairman of Alibaba, announced this concept of the quotient of love, which is the quotient of caring for one another, right? That's what we do in this business, right? And I believe that coming out of this, more and more people are going to discover vacation rentals. And it's not going to be a temporary thing. They discover it once and they're going to want to come back over and over and over again. So this is a really great opportunity for us to shine, for you to shine, to deliver those experiences. While they're in your homes, give them things to do inside the house, because they're going to hang out in the houses more often than they did before, right? Board games and rules at the dinner table, like no screens at the dinner table. Screens get turned off or stuck in a bucket. I don't know, whatever. Lots and lots of ways to create those connections and help people recreate or reconnect, right? Families, friends, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's all about love, really. It really is. Okay, so some resources for you, right? Vrbo's Discovery Hub, vrbo.com/PM info. Go there. It's got tons and tons and tons of information on it. And it's got COVID information on it. It's got cleaning information on it. It's got all this stuff. It's available to you. You just got to go to vrbo.com/PM info. And it's got a lot of the information that we talked about. So we are providing regional marketing and market insights, if you will, to you guys. All right. This is an example of the kind of reports that we're pulling together. And the idea is to call Partner Success and get these reports. And they're constantly evolving, and we're constantly updating them. But things like bookings by cancellation policy, we've been talking about that, right? And again, this is an example of one particular region in the country. And traveler origins, so that you can understand where travelers are coming from, and traveler origins by bookings, both by bookings and by searches. So enabling you certain insights, hopefully to help you guys manage your business, perhaps manage your rates to a certain extent. And again, we're constantly coming up with new measurements and new things to report on. So get with your Partner Success rep, and they'll take you through it, okay? And make sure you get these reports. All right, on closing thoughts, gentlemen, what would your best advice be for a friend who also happens to be a vacation rental manager? Randy.
Well, I alluded earlier to what I believe is the 2020 labor issue we're going to have, particularly for those of us who need a lot of help during the summer. So I would just say to anyone who is watching, who's opening or who's preparing to open, is to get your team under your arm and close by and talk to them and be sure that your team is ready to go. Whether that's your key people, maybe you never really stop paying them and they're just ready. But particularly for those people who maybe are cleaning or inspecting and didn't have any assignments and therefore they were out of your reach, I would just simply say, get your team together and be sure that you're ready to go with the people on your staff. That's kind of my number one thing right now.
Okay, cool. And Miller.
I've got quite a few of them. Over the past several months, being a board of director, I appear on some of these things, and I get asked this question a lot, so I've kind of written them down. There is no better time in the 26 years that I've been doing this that I've leaned on relationships more than anything else. John, you and I go way back to the ResFest days back in the early 2000s and so on, and the relationships that I have enhanced during this time of crisis, whether it's a hurricane or a virus or economic downturn, a recession, or whatever, we need to rely on relationships. And getting back to your love slide, we must adapt to change and be flexible to change. Change is good. We're going to all come out of this. Everybody says we're going to come out of this stronger. We are. We're going to come out of this better and wiser. We are. Advice to another vacation rental manager: save money. Have that slush fund for a rainy day down the road that you may have to you may have to get into. Do not, speaking of slush funds, do not borrow from your trust account. I don't care who tells you. I don't care if you're looking at 7 figures. If your state does not allow it, and even if it does allow it, do not borrow into your trust account, because you will live to regret it, and you probably won't have a business in the near future. As a plug for VRBO, and I've been on, all my listings have been on VRBO for quite some time. My Partner Success Manager is phenomenal, and I've told you that. Work with your Partner Success Manager. Put all your properties on VRBO. You all are really, really wonderful to work with. And I'm not saying that because I'm on this presentation, but I've had years of success with you all. Diversify. In my property, I have vacation rentals, I have annual rentals, and I have a sales department. My annual rentals and my sales department have not missed a beat since March 18th when they shut our state down. We've continued to rent, we've continued to sell. So diversify, get out there, spread your business out. Communicate with your owners and your staff. I've communicated more with my owners in the past 2 months than I ever have. I mean, I've sent bi-weekly emails out to them, just letting them go on, what's going on down here. They don't know, they've got their own problems to deal with. My top priority in all of this is family. Take care of your family. And when I say family, I'm including what's in the four walls of this business here. I've told every one of these employees that work with me, not for me, that they're my family. And take care of your family, because they take care of you going forward. And that's why I've been doing this as long as I have, and will continue to doing it. It's because of them, and I remind them of that every day.
Holy cow, that's awesome. That's awesome. You couldn't have said it better. And yeah, and to your points, this too shall pass, right? We're going to make it through this thing, and in my humble opinion, at the risk of being cliche-ish again, we're going to be better than ever. More and more people are going to discover us. More and more people are going to discover you and your homes and your services, and get bit, right? And this whole thing of social distancing and cleanliness and stuff like that, that's not going away. Even when COVID dies down, those expectations are still going to be there. And so it's a chance to deliver on a really, really wonderful promise. So you guys, thank you for joining me. Thank you for participating in this call. You guys are amazing. And
can I just offer one little thought, kind of just to follow up on some of the things that Miller said? You know, we've been committed to VRBO and then Vrbo. We've been with that long haul since I started in this business almost 10 years ago. And the last month and a half has really been, if anything else, just a series of constant change. More so at the beginning, but just every 3 hours it seemed like there was a new set of circumstances, which seemed like there was a new rule. And there was a time in there where about halfway through it, I just looked back, and I didn't really call and say, hey, what's Vrbo going to do? How are they going to help us? But I just kind of looked back at a series of decisions that came out of Vrbo corporate. And along the way, what I found out was you guys were doing everything to help us, nothing to frustrate us. And that was really just kind of a test, whether it was learning that you guys were going to help us out with not demanding 100% immediate refund, but we were going to be, as long as we were doing something for the guests, we were going to be in that group of people that were not kind of at attention with you. Refunding the traveler's service fees just made that simple. That part of the equation, you were available, people could get to you, you weren't lost. And so as we went through those 10 or 12 days and looked back at a point where a company as large as Vrbo, with connections as deep into New York as you guys have, or the Wall Street, it's really easy to imagine getting lost or being a little bit of tension, but that was never the case. And so what that for me realized, just helped me kind of points out, is that you guys have really learned who we are, what we deal with, and how to make decisions along the way that are responsive to our needs. You understand property managers, and you understand the unique relationships that we have. We don't, when we're not selling hotel rooms where we have 20 of them and they're all the same size and all we need is one photo on our website. We have 300 different owners for 300 different coffee pots, and they change. And so just grateful for the opportunity to have 50+% of my reservations come through Vrbo, and to find you guys making decisions that just kind of fall in our direction along the way. It's been very helpful. Not one time if we had to call and ask you to do something differently than you were instinctively doing along the way. And I can't say enough about how good we feel about you guys as a partner going forward.
Well, thank you, Randy, and we are just so grateful to have you guys as our partners as well, and our customers. One of the things, I was talking to somebody the other day, and she asked me, she said, so what do you think about all this? And I said, you know what? I said, there's a lot of things that we can be fearful of. There's a lot of things we can be complaining about, but there's a lot of things too that we can be joyful about, and we can be grateful for. And so, through this all, I mean, I really have, it's kind of weird for me. I really have learned to live with joy and grace and gratitude. And I couldn't be more, on behalf of all of Vrbo and on behalf of Expedia Group, we love you guys. And thank you for being our partners. And we're going to make it through this together. So with that, Miller and Randy, thank you again for joining me. Everybody out there, have a great day and keep on trucking. We're going to make this all work. Thanks for coming.
Thanks.